Girlies, am I leaving vinyl?
I said you'll have fun, and I won't disappoint you.
Welcome, fellow Kiss fans. Welcome to It's All For You Demons, celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. Topic tonight, switching it up, I think, the Off the Soundboard. The Asylum release of Off the Soundboard and the new announcement of the box sets has made me ponder my future collecting endeavors. So, switching it up is going to be the topic tonight. First, let's talk a little hot face. My hot face tonight's the 1980-81 era of Kiss. Kind of that elementary school era, that Aussie era that I just imagine like an elementary school kid loving Kiss at that point, because the teenagers had kind of gone away after Dynasty and all was left was elementary school kids, like my era of children, 1980, my age. Even though I wasn't a Kiss fan back then, I'm really hot-faced on that era. Melissa left a comment last week that she too is hot-faced on that era, and I just think that era is just magical. It is, like I said, childhood. I think 1980 Kiss fan, you think like a 8, 7, 6-year-old kid, and just the Halloween costumes that are left over, the Mego dolls that are left over, all at the half-price store, all in the discount bin. That is childhood magic, and that is my hot face. Leave yours below. I'm really digging the hot face thing because it's really just allowing me to see other fans' hot face, and then, heck, may even inspire me. Melissa, you may have inspired this hot face, so thank you very much. And not to mention, I am currently watching a Mexico Lick It Up 45, like extended play 45. The packaging of it is so childhood magic 1980 of Kiss, and I just love that thing, and hopefully I win it. So let's talk switching it up. And what spawned this was the other day when the rumors came out that the 2 box sets in the fall will be Dressed to Kill and Alive. My first thought was double pass on both. And anything I say here is not a slam towards anyone. Everyone collects differently. Whatever you want to do, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm not bashing you. Whatever I want to do, like Bobby Brown said, it's my prerogative. And see, we're in an 80s mood. 80s mood here. Which may be why I want to switch it up. Because, as we know, in previous videos of mine, I went down a CD rabbit hole where I wanted to get all of the high school edition CDs that I had in high school. And by high school edition CDs, I just mean that first print of Kiss CDs that came out probably 1987, and I was purchasing around 1989, 90, 91, 92. And in doing so, it made me realize that my 2 box sets I own, Destroyer and Creatures of the Night, are both on CD. And I love those box sets, not gonna lie, love them. I was like, why is the announcement of the 2 new box sets not doing a thing for me? And I think it's because I just feel, and again, this is just me, whatever you want to do and whatever you follow, God bless you. Myself, I just feel like everything Kiss has done, it's missing some fire. It's missing some, holy crap, I have to get that. And I passed on the Asylum soundboard, mainly because stop with the bundles. Please, stop with the bundles. I know it can be done because Ghost recently they have a new record coming out. I believe it comes out the day you're watching this. So you're watching this, I'm probably listening to Ghost right now. But they released their new album. Of course, there's 10 million variant vinyls you can buy. But they also offer 1 black album. No bundle, just the album. It can be done. Those of you at kissonline.com, it can be done. Now you can call me a hypocrite because I did buy the Dynasty and the Hot in the Shade bundles, but those albums are huge to me. I honestly don't see myself purchasing an album from Kiss Online unless it's a Dynasty, Hot in the Shade, or Crazy Nights album. And I certainly do not see myself buying a box set on vinyl. Way too expensive. And we won't spend too much time on this because it does sound like I'm just complaining, and I never want this channel to be that. To me, an Alive box set, I'm sure the pictures in the book will be cool, the story will be cool, the merchandise inside will be cool, but that really does nothing for me. Of the two, I'm more apt to go for a Dress to Kill box set if it's reasonably priced and has some cool extras on the CDs. But we shall see. But this whole topic made me really think, like, am I leaving vinyl for good? And if you remember, many months ago, went down the high school rabbit hole. I hope I do not drop this. Went down the high school CD rabbit hole, and I have from Kiss through Monster on CD. Even though things after Revenge, I wasn't in high school anymore, I still consider them high school CDs because I still was buying CDs, I wasn't streaming. And my wife hooked me up with this cool ass vintage CD case, like much like the one I had in high school. So I had a lot of fun doing this, and to me, CDs sound better than vinyl. People will disagree with me, but CDs sound better than vinyl to me, and it just reminds me of high school, and so a lot of vintage nostalgia there. So when I first became a Kiss fan in 1988, I did not own a CD player. I got my first CD player when I was a freshman in high school, and it wasn't a stereo, it was just a Ghetto Blaster CD player. So when I first became a Kiss fan, it was all cassettes. And when I was introduced to Kiss, Danny did it with Phantom of the Park VHS and a Gene Simmons solo cassette. So my Kiss DNA lies in the cassette tape. And I had the entire catalog on cassette in high school. But then in college, when I started collecting vinyl, I was like, I'll collect vinyl, still have my CDs because I have a CD player in the car. The blessed days before iPhones in your pocket. Still had a CD player in my car, and I thought, what the hell do I want all these cassettes for? So, as young college people do, you take it to Hastings Music Entertainment, and you're like, hey, I want to sell these cassettes. Entire catalog gone. So I thought, since I have the entire Kiss catalog on vinyl, the entire Kiss catalog on CD, let's redo and find again the Kiss catalog on cassette. Because when I was in high school, I did have the catalog on cassette up to a certain point, but now it's here. Kiss 74 through Kiss My Ass. I stopped at Kiss My Ass. But we're going to look at some of these cassettes, not all of them, because we know what cassettes look like. But there are some cool things in here. And once again, my wife found me a kick-ass cassette holder, much like I had in high school. Now she just needs to find me a Kiss record player, and we're set. But of the cassettes, this one is pretty near and dear to my heart because, as I said, I didn't have a CD player when I first became a Kiss fan, and this is one of the very first cassettes I ever bought. Not this one, had to re-buy it on eBay, but just that 74 cassette in that manila brown cassette case. That's 1988 for me. And I know we've talked about this Love Gun before in a previous video many moons ago, but this was found at like a garage sale. But this is kind of cool because it has the old Casablanca sticker. Rocksteady Productions, Casablanca Records. That's pretty cool. And then Alive 2, I always loved that Volume 2 is upside down. I don't know exactly why, but there they are straight. But if you're having them front to back, Alive 2 Volume 2 is upside down. Very strange. But I do like that a kid could write in to receive the booklet and tattoos included in the Kiss Alive 2 album. Well, send $1 to cover postage and handling to Kiss album stuff. Varial Avenue, Woodland Hills, California. Get yourself some tattoos. And of all the cassette tapes I purchased off eBay going down this rabbit hole, Double Platinum is by far the coolest. It's like this brick of a cassette. And it doesn't even fit in one of the things. I have to lay it on its back. But here is the first record, and then opens up like that, and the second tape is right there. That is pretty freaking cool. I like that. Big old brick of Double Platinum. Ace solo record was a fun find because inside it has the Kiss Army has just designed a fabulous new collection of Ace Frehley products just for Ace fans. For a full color brochure and fan club membership information, please send a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Kiss Army Fan Club, 7949 Deering, Canoga Park, California. That, again, like we said, childhood magic. Now, of the solo records, Gene, of course, is from my childhood. Gene and Paul are the similar, kind of the... Do these say anything about... No, these do not. These don't say anything about the fan club. But Peter's is completely different. I think Peter's is maybe an 85 release? I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But Peter's is completely different. Got the shadow box Peter Criss font, and then different cover. So the covers of Gene, Paul, and Ace are all the same, but the cover of Peter is different. If I was a completist, I would try to track down Gene, Paul, and Ace in the Peter cover, but just don't think I'm going to go down that rabbit hole. Now, that could be a someday, a one day. Now, this was a fun find because I do have it on vinyl and I do have it on CD. Best of the solo albums from the Netherlands. Pretty cool sticker on the actual cassette. Gotta love those foreign pressings. And it's very strange how we're so used to collecting vinyl, and you know, like, certain vinyls are extremely hard to get. Like, an Originals 2 is gonna cost you a lot of money. Well, it was interesting to see how the cassette game worked, because this one was pretty hard to track down and cost more than the other ones. Most cassettes were anywhere between $5 to $9, but Unmasked, of course, was a little more, and I had to hunt and peck for this one, but I actually found it in a lot and was able to just select Unmasked and get it on its own. But it was neat to see that certain cassettes are harder to get than others. On that same tit would be the next album in the catalog. This was the toughest to get of all the cassettes. This was the last one to arrive because it was the toughest to get. No one would send me an offer on it, and it's odd that it was. This is very much a later pressing, but still fun to have. Good old Elder. Speaking of which, I posted this on my Instagram but never discussed it here. For the first time since high school, my Elder album is actually back in the holder with the cover, because in high school I loved this bag and I thought, oh man, I am going to thumbtack that bag to my wall, which I did, and you can see there are thumbtack holes on every corner. But this bag and record have been on my high school and college wall thumbtacked up, and then my adult life I framed it. But for the first time in years, the Elder album is back with the album cover. This was another cool find. Killers from Germany, and as we spoke last week, perfect Easter cover, turquoise, pink album cover, and a cool sticker on the cassette tape as well. And again, call it laziness, but much like I'm not going to be a completist with those solo album tapes, I did not want to try to hunt down a Creatures of the Night in makeup cover. A, it would have cost a lot. Well, A, it would have cost a lot. I don't care how long it takes. I'm a cheapskate, and so it would have cost a lot. So I went with the classic 85 cover. This is my Creatures, folks. This is the one I grew up on. Creatures of the Night on CD, this track order, this cover. This is my Creatures. People say Creatures. I mean, I love the cover as well. But people say Creatures, I think of this. I raised the flag for the non-makeup cover. We should have had a lenticular box set that went from the makeup cover to the non-makeup cover. That would have been amazing. And one, my buddy FL Dog. Speaking of, FL Dog has just purchased the logo patch for the Love Gun Army Kit. So a moment of silence for FL Dog taking a leap of faith and breaking his own rules. I texted him and I said, like Utah to Bodie.
You're blowing it, man! You're breaking your own rules!
So congrats on that. But this is a very cool cassette that FL Dog gave to me as a gift. It is Rock Shots, the Best of Kiss, 1974 to 1983. So even though it's a makeup cover, I keep it right after Lick It Up in the vintage cassette holder. And I mean, this thing is so bootlegged and just, you know, non-official. Look at that. Look at that tape. It really does have a super cool cover and then cool like interior. Got the little Kiss logo there, but then lyric sheets, which that's freaking awesome. Like, you didn't get this stuff in official releases. You had to dig, go non-official, bootleg to get fun like this. And we talked about this before. Our buddy Steve sent us this. Super cool from Australia. Kiss the singles. This is the kind of stuff you never even dreamed in high school of owning. So again, thank you, Steve. And this one's odd because this one reminds me of high school a lot because Revenge came out the summer after my senior year. And by that time, you had a CD player in the car and you had a CD player at home. So most of the time before then, I remember like Dr. Feelgood came out and Danny had a tape player in the car, CD player at home. So when you went to buy a brand new record, you bought a CD and cassette so you could listen to the cassette on the way home. Revenge came out, there was no need to do that. And I remember going to grab the Revenge CD on the day of release, and Danny and I didn't even stop at the cassette wall. So this is kind of cool because this is the first time ever in my life I've owned Revenge on cassette. And the same goes for the last cassette that I bought, Kiss My Ass. Never owned this on cassette, never even looked at the cassette, but Kiss My Ass is also kind of interesting because when we bought the CD, they did a limited edition red vinyl that kind of threw us down the vinyl collecting rabbit hole in college. And it is weird to think because back then I know I had Unmasked on vinyl and quite a handful of Kiss records, but when this came out, it was kind of fun to buy a brand new vinyl. And I remember there was kind of a vinyl resurgence around 93, 94. I bought a Lenny Kravitz Are You Gonna Go My Way on vinyl, and it came with like a CD of bonus tracks. Really bought it for the CD, but the vinyl was cool. It was a clear vinyl, and this was pretty cool to have. And it's odd to think that they attempted a vinyl rehaul in the early 90s, and that train didn't kick off until just recently. And per this video, how long do you think it's going to last? So that was my cassette high school collection rabbit hole. And on the vinyl thing, I mean, again, don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing anyone who collects vinyl. I just think I'm stepping out of it. I still will collect Dynasty, vintage, Dynasty, foreign pressings, but unless Kiss Online releases like a super cool Crazy Nights, Hot in the Shade, or Dynasty, I think I'm probably done with vinyl. And I'm done with cassettes and CDs because I have everything I want. But man, I just love CDs. I really do. I know it's weird. I do love vinyls because I love to hold the album and I love the crackle and pops, but I don't know. I just feel like the vinyl game's coming to an end. People will still go for old vintage records, but you know, just seeing like a ton of vinyl in Walmart, I think those days are gonna end. I don't know. Again, I apologize if this video seemed like a bitch session. I never mean it to be that way, so this is more of a Wax Night discussion. Yeah, let's call it that. Let's call tonight's episode a Kiss fan discussion. Yes, that's it. We're calling tonight's episode a Kiss fan discussion. Not a bitch session, just a discussion with a disgruntled final boy. April 25th. Rock and roll night and journal every day. Another filler. Gosh dang it. It's like every Friday is a filler in here. Who is the most legendary member of Kiss and why? Gene Simmons. He's the face of Kiss.
You're welcome.
Again, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Thank you for hanging out with me on Friday night. Thank you for discussing heavily the physical media of Kiss and where we think it's going, because that's what Wax Nights are all about. You come over to my house, we chill, we talk Kiss, we have fun. Even though this sounded like a bitch session, we had fun. I had fun, I hope you had fun, and I wish you the best weekend in the world. These girlies say we are having the best nappy in the world ever. Thank you for hanging with us tonight. Thank you for waxing a little rock and roll nostalgia with us here in the Wax Night house, taking a look at physical media, rabbit hole high school cassettes of the Kiss catalog. Be good to your babies, spay, neuter, microchip, take care, be safe. We will talk to you soon.